Good evening. Welcome to ESN for our coverage of the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series. We're live for our third race of the season here at Nazareth for the PPL 25. It'll be 225 laps around this triangle-shaped, really unique triangle-shaped racetrack. I think no other track is quite like it. I think. Do you agree with that, Eddie? I think this is a pretty interesting event.
This is a very interesting event. Hey, we're finally in the northeastern United States for a race. Place I know very well, very dear to my heart. Also, birthplace of the Andretti family. A lot of racers who could not win the Indianapolis 500. But
This
regardless
is
of that, this is the AWSCO Continental Series. We have, well, I don't want to say it's pretty big news given what happened in the Cup Series last week, but given this is the Continental Series, big, I guess we somehow got an even bigger story than an entire team getting penalized after the race at Nashville.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, on the aftermath of the Cup race, we had that whole a bunch of shenanigans involving the winner, the dark horse number 96 car. That's Angelo Gutino who had a penalty applied. A penalty applied initially was a disqualification, which would have nullified all the points you got in that race. However, that was appealed and reduced, I believe, to just a points penalty, and the win still counts towards the driver of 96, I believe.
I was also going to talk about what happened. It wasn't post race technically, but it was Zoe Quinn and Isabella Smith, and what was possibly the weirdest way to crash and end a race. As seems like the two of it got into it on social media. Apparently, both sides blaming each other. Zoe blaming Isabella for turning her into the infield, and then Isabella blaming Zoe for tracking her down as, I believe, quote, a heat-seeking missile, which is what I believe Echo and Caleb called it in the booth at night. Those two are in the field today, as we can look at a starting lineup, although it is row 16 on the inside, and Isabella Smith is row 12 on the outside. So hopefully they don't have to run into each other too much today, but I think for the rest of the field, we'll just hope on that.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's that much of a grass infield to do more heat-seeking missile shenanigans at this track.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, speaking
I
of the
mean, I think
starting lineup, we see that Honda is back on the. You see a Honda back on the pole. It's number 2 of Rachel Ramos for the ever present, I think, North Star team. Then alongside that, it's what is that? Shizi Min. Yeah, Shizi Min in the Ponos Racing car. That's a new face. I don't think we've seen that car up at the front just yet. I could be mistaken in that.
I don't
Uh,
think as much either, but I mean, really to cap this off, this is definitely going to be an interesting race, especially since it's a short track. So, you know,
yeah,
qualifying
it's a short
definitely matters
flat track.
maybe at a Daytona or a Nashville, and then you've got some pretty big names: Freya von Lundquist, Mayumi Moriyama, Luck Takuma, drivers who have had good runs these past couple of races on the inside lane behind Rachel Ramos and Lynn Oswell. So if that inside lane is what it's supposed to be at short tracks, we're going to see possibly some great fights between a couple of really good drivers and the people in front trying to hold them off so they can get some big points on the day.
Yeah, as a final note, I do want to mention the team that Moriyama's part of. That's Hokkaido Velocity. They've shown up quite well early on this season. Of course, Moriyama's leading the championship after a seventh place finish at Daytona and a fourth at Nashville. But her teammate Hieta Yoko is sitting tied for third right now with an 11th and 8th place as well. So good early results from that team. Hopefully they'll be looking to continue that momentum.
Well, well, someone's got to show up for Honda after North Star's penalty, especially since two of their drivers can't seem to qualify for any of these races at all.
Yeah, the two of their drivers are in that negative points hole. Well, at least Davenport's qualified for this race. She's starting outside of row 15 and 30th. But yeah, Stella Arcadia
Uh,
still hasn't qualified. And well, I think the only other team that's having as much trouble qualifying is Project Horizon. But that's a whole other box of mysteries going on at that team.
Nope. That's for sure. But yeah, interesting qualifying. I'm surprised we have Lynn Oswell and Freya von Lundqvist on the inside. I'm surprised we didn't end up front row after what they did in practice. But unfortunately for Rachel Ramos, you got to do something for North Star, try and regain some of that momentum for that team. And unfortunately, you've got two cars behind you who are definitely looking to probably lead the most laps here today. So I imagine uh, we don't know if I'll see any aggression out of the 96 and the 42, but that two car is going to be blocking for her life most of this race, and we will see if she can pull off a pole to
Yeah, I think.
victory lane.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
it'll be
remember the last
important
time
to
this
lead
ever
a.
happened.
Yeah, I think it'll be important to lead as many laps as you can, at least early on. It's not going to be too difficult to pass, but it won't exactly be as easy as any old super speedway or 1.5 mile track. That is. Do you have any other? Oh, okay. Well, I think that'll do it for our pre-race show. We'll take you over to the booth where I believe Echo will be joined by Renee for this iteration of the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series. Echo, are you there with us?
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, so hey everyone, welcome to Nazareth, Pennsylvania, at the Nazareth Speedway. This track just refurbished for a big race here today, the PPL 225. It's another standalone race as Continental's on a bit of a standalone tour in the early season here. We're at the short track, 0.946 miles on the dock here at Nazareth. I'm joined by Renee.
Drivers, to your cars.
Hello, Renee.
And you hear the call for the drivers to enter their cars. Of course, they're already parked out on track. Hello!
So, very interesting track here. This is a very, very fascinating little run that we're going to have. What do you expect from these drivers in this race tonight? It's still cold. It's not as cold as it was at Nashville last week, but how do you think these drivers are going to tackle these temperatures, and how do you think these drivers that are kind of towards the back, that are fast, are going to be able to get up to the front here?
Especially with the cold temperatures, I think tire wear will be less of a factor here, where you would expect it to be at a short track like this, but the high wind might offset that a little bit. Obviously, these drivers are a bit more inexperienced, and we've seen a lot of chaos in the last couple races between all of them. And I mean, I guess for a lot of these drivers, they're probably just trying to build up momentum for quite a long season. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of drivers just try to put up a finish, let alone a good one. That said, you have some, I guess, quick standout names towards the front. Looking at Daytona winner there, starting in 5th, Freya von Lundqvist. In the 42 for Macmillan Enterprises. You also have Rachel Ramos, of course, qualifying on pole in the Ridgeline Honda. And we've seen a lot of speed from the Fords, too, in the AWSCO Cup Series, the Windows Cup Series. So I would expect to see the Fords do well, but obviously this is a bit of a unique scenario, just the Continental Series coming here. I'd expect to see quite a few incidents, if you ask me for my prediction.
Yeah, all right, and we're going to take a look at our starting lineup as they just qualified yesterday. Row 1 on the pole, Rachel Ramos, Row 1 is Rachel Ramos on the pole in that 2 for North Star Motorsports, and the 46 of Shizzy Min on her outside. Row 2, Lynn Oswell for Dark Horse Racing in that 96 car. Not the same 96 that won at Calder Park and proceeded to have a bit of an issue with their car in technical inspection. She's alongside Leah Azelhart. Row 3 is Freya von Lundqvist alongside Jet Brackett. Row 4, it is Abby Buchanan and Brenda Davis. Row 5, the 12 of Jackie Kennedy and Ashley Johnson. Row 6, Mayumi Moriyama in the 64. Finished top 10 in both races so far, alongside the 04 of Eli. Row 7, Lulu Connie back after missing last week at Nashville, alongside Cara Reynolds, who's got a 9th place finish in both races to start this season. Row 8, it's Lux Akuma and Krista Andresen, who both ran pretty solid at Nashville. Row 9, the 10 of Eliza Evergreen and the 99 of Karina Willis-Callaway, both top 5 finishers. Willis-Callaway, who had that notable 5th place finish with a ton of damage to her car. Row 10, it's Rose Lockport and Casper Von Weber. Row 11, Kate Summers is alongside Madison Estrada. Row 12, Cassidy Jones alongside Isabella Smith. In row 13, it's Lara Sundale and Lori Ramirez. Row 14, Izzy Oberman and Jennifer Wilson. In row 15, Deborah Williams is alongside Naomi Davenport, another driver back from missing last week's race. Row 16, Zoe Quinton, coming off that penalty alongside Alice Hageman. Row 17, Isabella Fitzmaurice and Hieta Yoko. This is in the provisional areas. Row 18, it's Katrin Edelstein and Reina Munoz. And in row 19, Vinnie Schultz and Latanya Gray round out the field. So 225 laps. Originally this race was scheduled for 200, but just about a week ago they decided to extend the race just a little bit to be 225 laps. How do you think those extra 25 laps are going to come into play for these drivers?
Well, I think the biggest thing that they're going to have to deal with, at least on the pit box side of things, is changing up maybe what they were expecting coming in. Crew chiefs are going to have to be adaptable here, as we could be on for a bit of a longer fuel run to end this race. Obviously, we saw a bit of fuel controversy at Nashville last week for the AWSCO Continental Series. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a bit more of that. But with how these drivers tend to drive, I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw a late race caution and a restart could end this race without any concerns of that.
Start your engines!
All right,
And
well,
there is the call.
the command has been given to these drivers to get the engines fired, so here we go. It'll be Ramos and Min that will lead them to the green here from the Nazareth Speedway. And this run in the Northeast gonna end after this, and we're gonna head out west, but very short pace lap here as we take the green flag. Here we go, we're racing at Nazareth.
Izzy Min got a good start alongside Ramos. They managed to keep it together, and Min nose ahead coming into the corner.
Fighting back on the outside, Min is doing a great job holding on up there. But Ramos gets the pole in turn 3 there. And it'll be
Not much you
Rachel
can
Ramos
do
who
on
leads
the
the
outside
opening
of
lap.
turn 3.
I mean, this track is very, very tight because you have about 3 different places where you gotta slow down here. That front stretch, that dog leg on the front, this long, wide, sweeping corner here, and then this one as well. You got 3 places you gotta slow down to turn here, and not something that a lot of these drivers are going to be particularly used to.
Yeah, Shizzy Min losing a lot of positions here early. You're also going to see Freya von Lundquist. She's now up to 3rd after starting 5th. Quick movers, and look at Abby Buchanan.
Buchanan trying to get there on Min, but she'll finally drop off. It is Rachel Ramos, though. Got a good start. Min held pretty good on the outside, but that outside lane just... Ooh, 6 car got the wall there. But yeah, the outside lane... Outside lane just isn't the way to go here.
Alice Hageman. Hageman all the way to the back on the start. Rough start for the Meridian Motorsports driver.
Yeah, especially after her performance last week where she led the most laps.
Battle for 7th here. That's between Jet Brackett and Mayumi Moriyama. That's your points leader in the 64.
Yes, it is. Moriyama gonna take that spot away from Brackett up to the 7th position. Oswell gonna get shuffled. Oswell got shuffled for 2nd, and the 96 now losing quite a few spots here.
You look at it, it looks like we have a battle for the lead potentially here. Looks like the 42 up to 2nd. Not sure if we... But Ramos, 4 or so car lengths ahead. comes Shizzy Min trying to make up that position after starting on the outside of the front row.
And the 46 looks pretty solid, just had the issue of getting stuck on the outside lane at the start of the race and just couldn't really particularly make up that ground very quickly. Here's last week's winner, Izzy Oberman in the 93. She's already making up quite a bit of ground. She's up to 13th.
Yeah, she pushed Jackie Kennedy wide, and now Kennedy is going to lose a number of positions.
Yeah, Oberman started all the way back in 27th, and she's made it up 14 positions at the start already. This track is going to be one where you're going to be patient. There's not going to be a lot of side-by-side action, but this is going to be a kind of track where you want to make your moves count when it's right. As you can see, Leah Azelhart going for a spot on Abby Buchanan. There's Moriyama trying to get by Lynn Oswell. And our Daytona winner has closed up on the 2. Freya von Lundquist is there.
Yeah, top 3 have kind of pulled away a little bit. You have a Honda, a Toyota, and a Chevrolet all up at the front.
Keep battling back here.
It's like Moriyama is going to get past the 96 and go straight for a move on Buchanan.
I will say I'm rather impressed that we have not had that they managed to keep it clean on this start. We have not had an early incident. Well, the 5 just came to pit road. We might have had an incident there, but that didn't bring out the yellow.
Wouldn't surprise me if maybe the 5 hit the wall coming out of one of the corners. Battle for second here between Shizzy Min and Freya von Lundquist. Lundquist going to relent the position? No.
This is just such a fun little track to drive for these drivers. I think a lot of them just love this kind of racing. But I think the other thing as well is here at Nazareth, it's this is a very difficult track to drive. I mean, it takes quite a bit to get around here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like the 42's nose is bent just slightly. It's a good chance that the 42 hit the wall, and that's how the 46 got around.
Pete Summers trying to pass Evergreen. The 96 has got the wall. And the 96 is coming to pit road for that. Yeah, so you got it pretty good.
Yeah, already a rough weekend for Dark Horse Racing. They managed to win their appeal for the Cup race, but tough start to this race here at Nazareth.
So Zoe Quinn, who got involved in that incident with Isabella Smith last week, got a 25-point penalty for that, or she got a 10-point penalty for that. Vinny Schultz as well is on pit road. So the 62 has also had some wall contact, it appears.
Yeah, you see the 55 there hit it as well. Track quickly separating the wheat from the chaff here as we see drivers make mistakes, and that might become a narrative as the race goes on.
Now, these cars up at the front kind of settle in so far, though. It's mostly looked like, you know, we're mostly single file up at the front right now.
And Oswell gonna merge back onto the track a lap down, possibly a couple laps down behind.
Fuel window here is is about 90 laps. It's a bit longer than it would be at a 1 miler because this track is actually 0.946 miles long.
Yeah, very unique track for the schedule, definitely. Kate Summers move on jet bracket.
8
Summers
car
up to 7.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Nazareth is this track formerly was measured. NASCAR always measured this track at 1 mile long, but IndyCar and CART would measure it at 0.946, and AWSCO chose to use the IndyCar measurement for this track because the 66 plows the wall there pretty good.
Yeah, Oberman sent it pretty deep on bracket. Bracket just overdrove the corner trying to defend. And again, you're starting to see the drivers break mentally a little bit.
The 12 was way down on the apron there. I think the 12 made some contact with somebody, and she had to dive down to save that car. A great job on her part to get it saved as we got a battle for the lead. Here comes Min on Ramos.
Yeah, it's Zaponos Racing number 46 Camaro, the North Star Racing number 2 Honda, and that's allowing Von Lundquist to catch up, and now we have a battle for second between the 42 and the 2.
And Shizzy Min, first lead change of the day, comes on lap number 18. The 46 car, that Chevrolet now out front.
And here comes Leah Azelhart.
Yeah, the 16 up here as well. Panos Racing, which is
freight trained.
Panos Racing, which is aligned with Golf Racing, and
my
we have a car
goodness.
upside down. The 88 apparently had a tire issue.
They'll come to the line. That's going to be a caution.
That is the yellow, so the yellow flag is out.
And Azelhart managed to snag third there.
Oh, jeez. Here comes pretty much everyone to pit road. The 62 of Vinny Schultz will be the free pass car.
And yep, there's Latanya Gray out. No,
Yeah, that is Latonia Gray.
Okay.
You got it.
65 car out of the race. Madison Estrada took a rollover there. Not sure if they'll be able to get that car back into the race. It's the RGB Racing, number 88.
So Vinny Schultz gets back on the lead lap with this yellow. This is a very tight
Some
pit road, so
contact
there's
on
gonna.
pit road between.
This is a very tight
81.
pit road, so there's gonna be some contact.
Take a look at what happened to Estrada there.
I don't want to watch the race out of pit road first here, but Azelhart wins the race out. The 16 jumps everybody. Great pit stop for Leah Azelhart.
Yeah, the Ozark Motorsports number 16. That is
That's
really...
Gulf Racing.
Gulf Racing, I'm sorry.
You're good. They have a similar number of fonts, so it's fair. So let's see what happened to the 88. Okay.
So racing with the 60 there, and
Tire down.
sends it.
14. Well, she had a tire down, and tire goes down right here. The 14 doesn't know that, and then Latanya Gray just piles in. Bruh.
Did we lose it?
Whatever.
All right, red flag out for Madison Estrada.
So we're gonna send you back to the studio during this break, and Rasha, Eddie, do you guys got anything for us to note?
Not much going on right now, but yeah, they're gonna take a little extra time here to clean up everything, just to make sure they don't have any there's nothing left on the track when they actually do go green. Plus, I believe they'll be checking the safer barriers just in case.
Yeah, thankfully we got Madison Estrada out of the car. She looks okay. Looked like a crash that, you know, just got really unlucky with where it happened and where Latanya Gray ended up and all of it.
Yeah, I think the timing.
To your car.
Timing there.
Meanwhile, while I was on pit road, I happened to run into happened to be listening around to Lux Akuma, especially after he ran into the outside wall. Good 15 laps before this last crash, and despite a lot of other cars coming into the pit, Lux apparently told her crew chief that she was all right with the car, that just minimal damage, let's keep it moving, I don't want to end up in the back, and clearly that's paid off because the 6 car hasn't ended up 2 laps down like everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good strategy to take, I think, with that team. We'll talk about that race off of pit road. Good jump by the 16 of Hazelhart to gain all those spots. I think she was running, just outside the top 10? Just outside the top 5? I want to say?
Yeah, Hazelhart was 4th. Well, actually 3rd. She had just moved up into the group. Was kind of just sneaking her way into the podium spot, and then suddenly out of nowhere, both racing an absolute flyer of a pit stop, gets ahead of everyone, and Rachel Ramos just ended up dropping. Well, she was in 4th when the flag flew, but ends up in 4th. North Star, pit crew not able to get that. I think we'll try and get a scoop on that soon, but other than that, the big thing so far, people cannot keep it off of that little turn right after the start-finish line, and it is costing people some laps, but it's probably going to cost the people some races as we see the rest of the
I think the drivers have got to just kind of turn it down a bit on the exit. They've been really pushing the cars hard on the exit of corners, and that's really costing them. A lot of cars tank slapping the wall, and just not really much you can do once you've hit the wall and pancake the right side of your car there. Some cars have been bad enough to the point where they've actually had to come into pit road and lose a couple laps, of course, getting everything fixed up, getting tires changed probably. But yeah. What do you think of the racing so far?
I mean, I'm surprised that we've seen a lot more. It's not a surprise the outside lane keeps getting passed by the inside lane at this track again with those braking zones. But again, the big surprise was Shinzi Min had kind of proved for like a brief second that she could hold with, I think, some of the leaders and just drop back. Unfortunately, got into the wall, I think. Just lost a lot of spots. It's really unfortunate because that car, with those first 2 turns, it looked like she could have given Rachel Ramos a run for her money, and unfortunately, then the inside lane caught up, and it was all just over from there.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem. Yeah, that's. I think this kind of speaks of just how important it is to just keep the car on the track right now. I mean, it's quite early days. Didn't end up running that many laps for here, so I think it's just gotta make sure everyone's gotta make sure they keep the car clean, at least in this first half of the race. No need to lose your car, lose the handling on it. Yeah, if you like the way your car's handling, last thing you want to do is slap the wall and mess that all up.
Yep. This one's just gonna be really interesting once this red flag comes to an end. We're gonna have still over 200 laps with everyone refueled up, especially after the pits. You can really imagine that this whole race it could stay the same. We could see the 4 cars we saw at the front, which would be Von Lundquist, Ramos, Hazelhart, and the 42.
No, the 42 is Freya.
Yeah. Who was the 4th? I completely forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Was running in the front.
Yeah. And with that, it was I think it's been another race to forget what you call it? It was Latanya Gray, who just just got caught up in that again. Nothing much that she could have done there. Once I think the 88 was just kind of stranded in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's managed to do well in terms of getting the car on the grid. But I feel like everything just seems to go wrong for her once she actually gets on there. She managed to work. Go ahead. Yeah.
Only sitting in 24th in points, so it's really not too bad. But yeah, no. I think for Latanya Gray, someone with a bit of name value, this is not the start you wanted. Out of the playoff picture 2 races in, I think someone would have expected her to have a more consistent start. And yeah, that just didn't happen.
Yeah, and the most unfortunate thing is I think that for a driver that's known for a very aggressive driving style, a lot of the incidents she's been involved in to start the season have been basically through no fault of her own, really. I mean, this one's just another one of those incidents where wrong place, wrong time. Not exactly something she could have particularly done to alleviate that. But yeah, that'll also be a blow to Madison Estrada. That 88 team is sitting pretty down low in points, and well, it's not going to gain that many spots with that result, I don't think.
No, it's not gonna help. And I mean, speaking of, driver one spot ahead of her is Lux Akuma, who I talked about, kept the car out despite hitting the outside wall. So maybe you can see a little bit of how Inverness Racing is trying to drive right now. They've got Izzy O'Borman in the playoff. They've got Vinny Schultz in the playoff picture for now. And they've got Lux and Takamoto Aya, who cannot qualify to save her life.
Yeah.
But Lux is sitting on that, unfortunately about 13 points or so back. Well, I can't do math. But that's really important, I think.
Yeah, I think it's important to just kind of, get the results in, especially Akuma, who missed the opening round at Daytona. Bounced back really quickly, of course, with that 13th place finish, despite a fuel system failure at Nashville. So, yeah, I think if you're Lux Akuma, I think the important thing is just gonna get as many points as possible here.
And I think they're pulling it off with that strategy. Maybe we'll see what happens later.
Yeah, I think so as well.
People seem to have gotten a little stir crazy coming off the red flag.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Oh yeah, another. Yeah, I will also say not another driver that's kind of struggled to start the race. I think it was Lynn Oswell in '96.
Yeah.
Broncos 96 started out pretty well, but again, was another one of those victims of just kind of overdriving the exit of the corner. Just that's kind of just what happens when you incur that kind of damage. You have to come in, lose a couple of laps, and yeah, I'm not sure where she'll be scored after this red flag period, but yeah, she's definitely on the back foot. She'll definitely be on the back foot once this kind of all cleans itself up, I think. Still in the middle of the red flag delay here, just trying to settle some of the loose ends with regards to scoring before we're ready to take it back to the booth.
Our course, speaking of, has been a tale of two cities so far to start the season, with Isabel Smith and Deborah Williams in good spots in the playoff picture, and then you got LaTanya Gray and Lynn Oswell just having some rough races have not been helping them at all so far. So, yeah, 200 laps left of this race after the red flag period ends, and we get back to racing, and oh boy, could things get real interesting these next couple of laps.
Yeah, I think we're going to be expecting more of the same, just a little, passing's definitely not as much of a premium as I thought it would be. You can definitely make moves. A lot of cars kind of dive bombing down the inside and just kind of sending it. I think that's going to be the key to moving up the field over time. Not exactly sure if a 3 wide is desirable here at this track, but I think you can theoretically send it 3 wide without having it all go wrong, but I don't know if you want to take that risk if you're a driver in the midfield.
You will have to see. Speaking of, Lux in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, Lux is in the top 10.
We're
getting the signal that we're getting ready to go back underway. We're going to take you back to the booth once again and see if there's anything. Yeah, we're getting a signal from the booth. Is it back? Are we back, booth?
Yeah, we're back here. Pit cycle. Some cars just pitted off that red flag. The 16 of Leah Azelhart actually chose to drop back and stay in the back of the field here. So, interesting strategy call for the driver of the 16.
Yeah, we'll have to hear about from the crew chief what they were really thinking with that move. So Azelhart not going to be up at the front of the field here. So Freya von Lundqvist, Daytona winner, is going to start at the front of this field here with Shizzy Min, who's shown a lot of speed. 42 got to repair the damage under the red flag, so everybody here should be back up to full speed.
Yeah, the 96 and 5 are still going to be scored 2 laps down. All right, here we go. Pace cars off. And we are under green once more. Here we go. Back to green from Nazareth.
And Shizzy Min quickly to the inside of the 42.
Yeah, Min already going for the race lead.
Also a battle for third there, this Abby Buchanan and Mayumi Moriyama. And there it is, Shizzy Min takes the lead.
Making sure we're all good through the rest of the field, and we are, so...
Rachel Ramos also got to a good start as Abby Buchanan loses a couple spots on the start. Rachel Ramos up to 4th.
Ramos gets
and
by
look
now.
who's passing for 6th at the moment. That's Izzy Oberman.
Yeah, the 93, very fast. Our last week's winner from Nashville, Izzy Oberman. And Von Lundqvist just
moving the
kind of hit
inside
the wall.
Yep, 42 hits the wall. Moriyama up to 2nd. Here comes Rachel Ramos.
Yeah, pole sitter in the number 2.
Von
Yeah,
Lundqvist going to lose a few positions here.
And we'd like to welcome those of you who were watching the end of the ISRC Cup Series race from the Milwaukee Mile. Winner there, Matt Nelson, in the Miller 360, in the Miller car. How about that? That's a hell of a storyline. But we're here at Nazareth. We're here at Nazareth for a 225 lap race. It says 203 because I had to reset.
We might have a battle for the lead here. That's the Hokkaido Velocity 64 versus the Ponos Racing 46. Bit of a foil situation there going on.
'66 Jet Bracket, apparently we're hearing that car has a brake issue. And yeah, she's come down pit road. Looks like Vinny Schultz has come down pit road again.
Yeah, tough day for the 62 crew. Pretty lopsided results so far for Inverness Racing. Obviously, Izzy Oberman winning the race in Nashville, running top 5 today, and you see Vinny Schultz struggling mightily already.
Oh, Summers got in the fence there. Here comes the 16 of Leah Azelhart. She's already made her way back into the top 10, so...
That's one of the downsides of starting that far back in the field. You might be able to make it work on strategy, but obviously you put yourself in the hot spot for incidents like that as Kate Summers nearly hits the 16 coming off the wall.
And Cassidy Jones in the 4, looking pretty solid.
Yeah, Jones, who almost won at Daytona, 4-car. My eyes don't deceive me, the 93 is up to 4th place.
Yeah, Izzy Oberman, I mean, I guess she's leaving off on a good note from last week, considering that she won. I don't know if 2 in a row is going to be in the cards for her, but I think she's going to try.
So Rachel Ramos has passed Moriyama, now up to 2nd. That's your pole sitter, trying to chase down the 46 of Shizzy Min. So 1st and 2nd, currently 2nd and 1st, respectively.
As this race goes, it'll get a little bit calmer. There's the 8 getting passed again. There's Naomi Davenport at the 22. I mean, Davenport looking pretty solid. Again, that
And
car
North Star Racing
had that
cars.
penalty. That car had that penalty. That car still had the negatives in the points. So a good run is something that they're probably going to be looking for.
These top four are all about 2 or 3 car lengths apart from one another now. Or top 3, really. Moriyama trying to get a run to make a move on the 2. Almost runs it a little bit wide. Your battle for second here between 2 Honda teams.
38 side by side with the
for...
66. That's not a battle for position. But if the 16 is able to
Leah
get...
Azelhart there, who's right behind the 38, this battle for 8th place.
Yeah, the 16 would make it a battle if she were to be able to get side by side here. Which is looking like she might try to do that.
Yeah, Cassidy Jones in the top 10 now, getting past Jet Brackett, the lapped car. There's Ashley Johnson looking for a top 10 position.
Yeah, and she's going to dive it down in there and take that spot away. Here comes Reina Munoz. Munoz started way back in the provisionals, so... She's up. She's now gotten towards the front. Ramos starting to reel Min in again.
And Oberman has caught up to the 64 quite a bit since we last looked up here.
40 laps now complete. Shizzy Min out front. If you're wondering how to do the lap count, add 22 to whatever that lap number says. And, yeah, pretty kind of calmed down here at Nazareth so far.
Davenport gets past Kennedy.
66 of Brackett currently scored as the top car a lap down.
Oh, big hit for the... Is that the 81 or the 77? Meridian Motorsports score.
So Munoz and the 42 has come to pit road. Freya van Lundqvist. That might be for damage.
That'll put the 7 of Reina Munoz, her teammate, into the top 10.
Munoz got around Jones with that, so... But a very strong performance so far from Shizzy Min, has led most of the laps in this one. Took the lead just before we got that first caution.
Yeah, the Ponos Racing cars have led a few laps this season, but haven't really shown that blistering speed. But so far today, looking dominant, specifically at 46.
Yeah, the 45 has struggled. 45 has failed to qualify for the last 2 races, and difference here is with the difference is that the 46 is now running way up at the front of the field. The 42, Freya van Lundqvist, I believe, is going to be scored 2 laps down now.
She will merge behind Inverness Racing driver Izzy Oberman.
40 of Lara
Kennedy.
Sundale battling with the 12 of Jackie Kennedy. Been an interesting season for Sundale so far. Failed to qualify at Daytona just barely. She had a good run going at Nashville last week, but got caught up in an incident and was not able to finish the race. Jennifer Wilson in the 60 car down pit road. Here's that she's also getting some damage repaired.
Yeah, despite the single car incidents we've had that haven't brought out a caution, and we'll say this has been one of the cleaner
55.
races we've seen.
55 is down as well.
Oberman runs wide there. Ooh, hits
Off
the wall.
59.
Gonna allow Abby Buchanan.
59 looks inside for 4th.
Speaking of Inverness Racing, look who's running in 6th.
Yeah, Lux Akuma in that 6 car. Pretty solid run. I mean, again, Akuma's needed some recovery from her failure to qualify at Daytona, and she ran quite well at Nashville last week. Led most of the opening segment of that race before a mechanical issue put her behind, but she was able to get back up to the top. She was able to get back up to the top 15, and I think she finished 14th. Looks like the 12 of Jackie Kennedy's coming to pit road.
So all these pits for damage is going to shake up the strategy quite a bit. I have to wonder what the crews are thinking. Let's see. We do have our pit reporter. Liam, you got anything on that 12 car?
Yes, you.
They're I mean, 12 car coming down a pit lane, clearly an unscheduled stop. I'm heading over right now to sort of assess the situation, see talk to the crew chief, see what's going on. A short track like this, especially, like, you don't want to make an unscheduled pit stop. You're going to lose a couple laps. And you're going to definitely be off the cycle. So I'll come back with an update once I speak to the crew about what happened there.
I appreciate it, Liam.
There's the 42. Out of pit road, that 42 had that issue, but...
See a little bit of the difference on fresh tires here. Not
yeah, no.
too many laps on those tires for this track, but...
Got about 30 lap fresher tires, which, I mean, here, that means quite a bit. I mean, it's about a couple... That's a few tenths.
Yeah, the cold weather tire wear isn't going to be as bad as it would be otherwise.
Yeah, that is true. You got a lot of grip on the track surface. As opposed to what we might see at Bathurst, or like what we saw at Calder Park last week, where there was a lot of tire wear at Calder Park especially. I mean, we didn't see it in the first 50 laps of run. They fell off about a second, but after those first 50 laps of the run at Calder Park, that was when the tires really fell off. They started dropping down from 27-second laps to like 30 seconds. It was fun to watch.
You got a bit of a tightening effect here going on. Oh, Frey up on Lundqvist.
In the wall again.
The wall. No good, very bad weekend for the 42 team. Only getting worse. Gonna say the top 3 are all within half a second right now. Second ahead of 3rd place. Or 4th place.
Yeah, Leah Ezelhart kind of drifted back a little bit, but I think that 16 has had the pace to stay up here. Clearly been a fast car. Just doesn't have the track position right now, and track position is kind of important here. This is a place where it's not easy to pass. I mean, it's looked easier than I would think it's looked in many other cases, but a 0 of Yoko is on pit road.
Yeah, Yoko car already with a lot of damage.
Here comes Ramos for the race lead.
Well, it's going to put the 46 on the outside and allow an opening for the 64 as well. If the 46 can't clear.
Rachel Ramos, pole sitter, back out front. And Moriyama trying to get by Min, but I mean, I think that's interesting as we've seen the outside be able to hold pretty strong in turn 2 there. Just in turn 3 here, that's where it really drops off. Like, this is where the outside is the worst, I think.
Abby Buchanan has made up a lot of time while these guys were battling. Now the inside of Shizzy Min. Freya von Lundquist being a little aggressive for a lap car.
She's got those fresh tires, so she's much faster than these cars. Buchanan gets by.
And up front, it is a Honda 1-2.
Yep. Ramos and Moriyama out front right now. And, I mean, another thing I want to do is, let's see. Cara Reynolds, right now running 19th. Reynolds has started off this season with two consecutive top 10 finishes. One of only 2 drivers that has top 10s in both races so far. The other one is that 64 Mayumi Moriyama.
On track to put another one on the board, but
Yeah.
long race ahead still.
As it stands, the 64 looks like they're in a pretty solid position. We're just about to complete lap number 62. And it is once again Rachel Ramos out front.
Your top 10 as it stands, Rachel Ramos in the 2. Then the 64, Mayumi Moriyama running in second. Third, Abby Buchanan in the 59. In fourth, you have Shizzy Min, qualified second, now running fourth for Ponos Racing. In fifth, last week's winner at Nashville, Izzy Oberman in the 93 for Inverness Racing. And our teammate right behind her in sixth, that's Lux Akuma. Then you have this 38 for Gulf Racing, that is Pittsburgh's.
Yep.
In seventh, followed by Leah Azelhart in the 16, also for Gulf Racing. Right behind them, Ashley Johnson for Urban Enterprise, having a good run after a rough couple weeks to start. And Reina Munoz closing it out for another Toyota. That's the McMillan Enterprises number 7.
Yeah, Ashley Johnson had a great run last week. Finished third at Nashville. Just had a absolutely ridiculous speed weeks.
Now his top 3 starting to tighten up once again. You've seen Buchanan catch the back of the 64. Moriyama hasn't really been able to put up a challenge to Ramos, who has done well at the front so far.
Looking through the rest of the field here. There's Fitzmaurice trying to make a position. Lakuma got by Overman.
Wall again.
93 got the wall exiting 2. That's not a place we've seen that happen very much, but
She's going to fall to 9th potentially here.
see if she can hold the 24 behind her. I think she will. Ramos running really high. Moriyama's going to close in quite a bit here. One caution so far. We've been green ever since that caution came out. Oh, Von Lundquist in the wall once again.
Yeah, that car is clearly not driving right. Be interested to hear how Von Lundquist is reacting on the radio. We might have a battle for the lead here if Moriyama can build up a run. We go to our lap 69.
Liam, what do you got down there on pit road?
Hey guys, so I just got done speaking to the crew of the 12 car. Turns out there wasn't anything wrong with the car per se, no real mechanical issues that brought them to pit road. It looks like they're going to be pulling off some sort of strategy gamble, try an early pit stop now, see if they can beat the cycle later in the race. We're going to see how that works out, especially if we get any more cautions. But yeah, that's what I'm getting is a strategy gamble from the 12 team.
All right, well, very interesting to know. I mean, this race has had a pretty green flag feel to it so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll definitely see how that move ended up working out for Jackie Kennedy. She looked like she had pace maybe for a top 10 finish, but I guess they didn't see themselves running towards the front. I'm gonna try something pretty interesting.
I mean, beat them where they're not, you know. Interesting little reverse strategy call, but I like it. I like the gamble. Speaking of gambling, we'll check in with our we'll check in on our FanDuel favorites here in just a minute, and on our FanDuel fan studio. Actually, do you got anything? Oh, 64 got the wall, but do you got anything for us down there in the FanDuel fan studio?
Not much up here right now, but we have been paying close attention to the 59 of Abby Buchanan's performance here. She hasn't had the greatest of starts, but that's mostly been due to bad luck. We know that the Appalachia cars can most definitely deliver when they have the opportunity to do so. We've seen how well Kara Reynolds has performed in the other car, and so we're rather interested in seeing, as we see another car hit the wall. I think that was Min in the 46, but yeah. We're interested in seeing how well Abby Buchanan can do with that 59 car once if the cards fall in her direction. So looking at the number 2 of Rachel Ramos, their performance so far fell back a little bit at the start of the race, but since that initial pit cycle, I think they misconfigured that car for the long run a bit more, and they've been performing quite a fair bit better since then. Bit of concern, I think, along with regard to that 42 car for Yvonne Lundquist. Of course, they seem to have some sort of handling issue with that car. Whatever it is, it didn't show up that badly in qualifying. She was able to get those laps together and qualify well, but it appears that on the long runs, that car doesn't seem to be quite as good as we're looking for. Let's see, another driver. Let's go with the number 7 of Reina Munoz, who started way out back in the field, I think. Let me double check where she started. Yeah, she started out on the outside of row 18, so that was in 36th position. As you see a car coming into pit lane, that's the number 93 of Izzy Overman. That's last week's winner. Interesting strategy call, I think. I mean, at this point in the field, it's probably going to be some sort of strategy call. Might have to check in with our pit reporter later, see if there's anything with that team going on, or maybe there's some kind of latent issue that they're looking at. Maybe it's just precautionary. Maybe it is a strategy gamble, just like the 12 team. And let's continue looking through the top 10 here. Let's go at the car right behind the number 7 of Reina Munoz. That I believe is Cassidy Jones, another car who started kind of in that midfield melee, who's been kind of just minding her own business this time. Got into an accident last week with her own teammate, of course. But this week has been so far it's been a lot cleaner, and I think if you're Cassidy Jones, you kind of just want to run as many laps as you want. I don't think the Fat 4 team's been able to run as much as they've wanted to, I think. Did get a top 10 at Daytona, but to be fair, she did, I think, spend most of that race off the pace. Although, at least enough to make it to the end, I think. But yeah, I think if you're the Heath Clarkson car, well, yeah, the Heath Clarkson car of Cassidy Jones, you want to just finish the race off, I think, and hopefully get a top 10 out of that. Right.
Well, thank you for that, Russia. Saw the 93 pit there. A bit early, I think. I think you were going to want to go about 80-90 laps in terms of fuel cycle here, so bit of an early stop for Izzy Oberman, but that might be just what we're seeing with the 12 Maybe just trying to shortcut the strategy, trying a little bit of an undercut. Looks the 8 of Kate Summers trying the same here.
Yeah, obviously a lot of cars throughout the field have damage. It's been hard to stay off the wall. It's a bit reminiscent of Darlington in your NASCAR Cup races with how often that's happened. It'll be interesting for the cleanup crew after the race, but for the drivers who've managed to stay off of it, looking at drivers like Rachel Ramos up front, I was going to say Leah Eiselhart as well, but we saw her brush it barely there. It's really hard to keep your tires underneath you. You'd think with as much grip as on the track with the low temperatures, they wouldn't struggle as much with that, but it's very clear that the handling of these cars really just doesn't lend itself to this kind of racetrack. And these drivers just didn't come as equipped for it as I think many expected up on the pit box. Speaking of, there is Freya von Lundquist with her 4th or 5th hit of the wall tonight.
Why not keep hitting it at this point? What you got for us down there on pit road, Liam?
Hearing over the radio, Freya von Lundquist not happy with how the car's handling. Pretty clear you can see that is the amount of time she's been hitting the wall tonight. They're staying on the track right now, trying to run this run out. But definitely going to be some adjustments made by that team as soon as that car comes back to pit lane.
We might well
with that many hits.
That. And yeah.
With that many hits to the wall, you would worry about something like the steering being affected with the damage, or potentially like damaging the car enough to cause a tire to go down. Definitely keep an eye on that 42 team and see how they handle that. These are the kind of moments that decide championships. You know, whether you're able to persevere and come out with a respectable finish despite a really tough race. You're still making aggressive moves. She clearly wants one of her laps back.
Yeah, she's 2 laps down right now. And the 93 has had a mechanical issue in front of the field. She is pulled off the track onto the grass there.
And that will likely bring out the yellow Izzy Overman miserable
Caution
week
is
after
out.
winning. They're winning just a week
93
ago.
With a big issue
And that's what I was worried about. We saw the 93 hit the wall pretty hard, and then we saw the suspension break on that car. You have to worry about things like that. Moriyama nipping 2nd place from Abby Buchanan to the line. Jet Brackett going to get the wave around, or the free pass here, following the caution.
Yeah, the free pass will go to Jet Brackett, and caution is out for the 2nd time today.
Everybody going to head to pit road. We'll see who stays out.
42 still on track, but that's because she's a lap down.
And I guess while we're having pit stops, go ahead and throw it down to Liam on pit road. What are these crew chiefs thinking at this point in the race?
I mean, at this point, 65 laps into a run, wouldn't surprise me if most of these crew chiefs are thinking 4 tires and fuel, just get a fresh car back out on the racetrack. Anybody who's hit the wall definitely going to be thinking of repairing that right side. You know, get some of that aerodynamic back. And we've got some contact on pit road, 59-46. And the 2 get into a bit of a scuffle here. 46 gets into her stall, backs into the 59. I don't know if the 59 is going to be able to service that race car. 2 first off of pit road.
Yeah, heartbreaking for Abby Buchanan.
Yeah, that's tough for Buchanan. Hazelhart gets out 2nd. Akuma, Fitzmaurice, Johnson, Jones, Munoz, Ramirez, Davis, Min.
Looks like they're holding Moriyama to repair the damage because Moriyama got hit on that right side on pit road.
A really tough break for Buchanan, who got stuck on, who could not get into her pit box, and they're gonna have to they're gonna have to back her up, and they're gonna have to do they're gonna have to spend a while on that car. So Kate Summers chooses to stay out, and she will take the wave around to get back on the lead lap, or to get to 1 lap down now.
You know, I think that's a good call by the Uberman Enterprises team. Taking that opportunity, get yourself back on the lead lap. All you need to do now is hold out. We haven't seen really any lap traffic outside of damage, and at the rate that the cautions are happening, I think that's going to pay off well for the 8 team.
Min dropped to 6th because of that pit road issue. But this track's looked like a bit of a long green run kind of track. As we get the lights out on pit road, the 59 comes back out. 59, I believe, is just going to be 1 down.
Yeah, this wasn't mentioned on the broadcast earlier, but Hideyoko, the Hokkaido Velocity driver, the number 0, has retired from the race following the damage just being a little bit too much for that team to consider worth repairing at this point in the race. And also the 93, that suspension issue was just too much for them to handle, as the Ubermen will follow up a win with a retirement here the next race.
Unfortunate end to all of their days, as well as the 04 of Eli.
Ace car's in.
Ace car is in, so we're going to go back green this time. Here from the Nazareth Speedway, Ramos, Hazelhart, Akuma, Fitzmaurice, Johnson, the top 5. Here we go. Green flag. We'll say great job by...
Lux Akuma got a good start.
Great job by Hazelhart on that pit stop, because she went from about 8th to 2nd, and the 2 has an engine issue on this restart.
From the lead,
From
Hazelhart.
the lead, Hazelhart's going to get by, and the 16's going to get out front.
I'm sure that North Star is going to hear a lot about that on the social media following this race. Not sure if that'll be a fatal engine failure for that 2 team, but that is definitely not what they wanted to see after leading so many laps. Leah Hazelhart, that pit strategy really paid off for that team.
Yeah, great job getting out front. The 6 of Akuma.
That might be a commitment line violation. That is not how you would prefer to enter pit road. Akuma just overcooked it. Going on there. Not sure what the 6 team is thinking, but...
You're not sure what the pit stop is for there, but... Clearly not scheduled.
Let's see what AWSCO officials have to say about that pit road entry. But yeah, Ramos continuing to fall back. They have not pit for the damage yet.
Apparently the 6 is all good on that pit entry, so...
It's an interesting decision, I assume, with the issues. Not going to hold it against the 6 team too hard. I want to quickly shout out the 4-car Cassidy Jones, who is up into the top 5 now, following that pit cycle. And Reina Munoz up to 3rd.
What do you got, Liam?
Just got an update on the 6, came to pit road. Looks like it was just damage repair for that team. Saw some issues, maybe on the right side with all these cars hitting the wall. Don't want to cut a tire down. They brought the car to pit lane. They got it fixed up. They're back out on the racetrack, but definitely a lot of track position lost there.
Yeah, we saw that a lot at Calder Park when they were getting the wall there and a run up into the wall. A lot of the times they'd have to come to pit road for that damage repair. And
you got a Gulf Racing 1-2 right now.
Yeah. Hazelhart and Fitzmaurice making up the top 2 positions at the moment. Reina Munoz in 3rd in a Toyota. Then it's Cassidy Jones in 4th. And Ashley Johnson in 5th, both in Mercedes. And I got to give a shout out as well to Lulu Connie. I mean, had a tough run at Daytona. Made it through the big wreck, but had an engine failure right after. So she didn't get to finish. Failed to qualify last week at Nashville, but Look at that. The 44 of Lulukani up in 7th position in that RGB racing car. And then Isabella Smith in 8th place right now. After her run-in with Zoe Quinton last week, she's had a pretty solid recovery.
Yeah, brushes the wall very slightly there. Shizzy Min trying to make up following that poor pit stop. Obviously, contact with Abby Buchanan, who
battle for third.
At the bottom of the field now. And Cassie Jones.
Jones will take third. We'll see if Johnson tries to go for fourth. Don't believe she will.
Hazelhart's got a 1.5 second lead over Fitzmaurice right now, but getting held up a little bit by lap traffic.
Battle for being the free pass car. Right now, the 8 car of Kate Summers actually has the position to get the free pass if there's another yellow. There's Deborah Williams side by side with Cara Reynolds. That's not for position. This is for position though. Ramirez and Sundale.
Dead heat across the line between those two. 15's been shuffled out of the top 10. You see the 35 McMillan. That car didn't even qualify for Daytona. Now fighting for a top 10 position.
Yeah, Krista Anderson fighting for a top 10. Finished 12th last week at Nashville. We're at Nazareth this week, Echo. Not last week. Reina Munoz fighting back. 7 car to the inside. We keep that battle for third. Pretty strong right now.
Ashley Johnson might take advantage. Uberman versus Heath Clarkson here. 2 Mercedes
Jones
teams fighting for 4th place.
And just a reminder, tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, we're going to Mount Panorama for the Bathurst 500. If you guys like road course racing, if you guys like one of the most famous tracks in the world, well, we're going there. We're going to be at Bathurst tomorrow. It's sure to deliver for the AWSCO Windows Cup Series. Coverage starts 7:30 Eastern with our pre-race show. And I'm sure that Bathurst is not going to disappoint. That's such a fun racetrack to watch.
Cassidy Jones and Ashley Johnson continuing to go back and forth in this battle. See Jones make a sizable send underneath the 24, manages to clear out of turn 3. And Jones now 4 car lengths ahead.
Let's take a look at our NordVPN fastest lap. Leah Azelhart in the 16 car has it right now. Started up when we restarted the race. She was up front, dropped back a little bit due to some pit strategy, but now the 16 back up to the lead, and she's got the fastest lap too, which is also worth a point. The 84 of Casper von Weber has a big problem.
Oh, glad those drivers were able to avoid running into the back of the 84 there. That is tough. That Uberman Enterprise team, which has very much struggled in the Continental Series. On Weber stops on track. I'm not sure if they'll call a caution for that or if they
caution is out. They just called it right as the 16 crossed the line.
Leah Azelhart.
So yeah, we'll see what this results in for the pit strategy. Looks like the 16's staying out, but a bunch of these cars are coming to pit road.
Yeah, seeing a split strategy there from Gulf Racing, that's pretty interesting to see.
What's up, Liam? What do you got on the 84?
84 suffered a major engine failure there. I mean, big blow up, and they were directed to just stop the car in the infield, keep it off the racing surface, but definitely in a spot that would cause a caution. With the amount of oil coming out of the engine, they didn't want it tracing all over the racetrack, so they pulled it off into the grass, kept it there, and that ended up bringing out our yellow here.
Yeah, staying out, you see the 10 car for Ozark Motorsports. That's Eliza Evergreen. That car did very, very well at Daytona. I did see the 10 up front. I'm not sure. I mean, I'd say that's one to watch here.
We are on our third caution of the day. Kate Summers just pitted this time around. They called, it's called everyone in, so the 8 car will wave around. 8 car will wave around after she pulls out of the pit road here.
And Kate Summers' gamble on the last caution cycle is going to pay off. They should get on the lead lap this time.
Yep, she will be on the lead lap now.
Ironically, one misfortune for Uberman Enterprise allows for the fortune of another. So you see Summers drive around the field here.
Okay.
Oh! Kate Summers hits the grass there and runs into the 96. So Lynn Oswell.
Oswell is already multiple laps down, and I mean, this isn't going to help.
No, definitely not. I'm sure there will be words between those drivers after the race.
Note to self, don't wave cars through the front stretch.
I imagine that's an interesting conversation between those two cars and their spotters for those teams.
So yeah, it is, it'll be Hazelhart out front. We are getting one to go. 6, Hazelhart, Johnson, Evergreen, Connie, Min, Anderson, Hageman, Lockport, Edelstein. Akuma. The top 10 as all the lap down cars in between the top 10 positions take the wave around.
Listed reason for the 84 as they retire that car is ignition.
Oh, Evergreen.
Ooh.
Clearly
Might be debris on track.
Clearly an engine, clearly a massive issue with that car's engine. We're green.
That is catastrophic engine failure on the start for Eliza Evergreen.
Oh, the 7 past the 38 before the start finish line. That might be a penalty. Caution's right back out.
If they call it, yeah, Evergreen stuck on the infield there.
Caution's right back out, but these cars are still racing to the line.
Ulukani going for second here at the line.
Ooh.
Not going to be able to do it, but good battle even though it was only one lap. Jackie Kennedy going to get the free pass this time around.
Here comes these cars into pit road this time by.
And the listed reason for retirement for the 10 is accident.
I wonder if somebody
Was the
ran
10
into the
hit?
10. Yeah, I'll have to check that. So, looks like it'll cycle out to the 77 of Rose Lockport in the lead.
The Alex Hageman did pit, so Meridian on split strategy here. And that's going to shake up the field order quite a bit.
Yeah, fine, whatever. So those cars that got waved around, funny enough, that they basically got a free lap for that. So We got a bunch of
definitely
cars
see
back on
good
the lead
drifting.
lap from all that. So the 10, let's see what happened. No, just stopped. Nobody hit
Yep,
her.
so the 10 blows up on the restart, gets off the racing surface.
And she was still parked on the track surface somewhat.
It's a bit too small of an infield to really keep it green,
Yeah.
especially with how far around the track she would have had to go. Rose Lockport up front. And both Heath Clarkson cars now in the top 5. See the 14 there, Katja Edelstein, and the 4 of Cassidy Jones in 5th behind Isabella Fitzmaurice. Laura Sundale. How about that team up in 3rd right now? That's 3 Mercedes in the top 5.
Lights are out. I think the lights are out. Yeah, the lights are out. So it'll be Lockport, Edelstein, Sundale, Fitzmaurice, Jones, Moriyama, Smith, Davenport, Ramirez, Davis, the top 10.
Get ready to restart.
Lockport out front, Edelstein 2nd, Sundale 3rd, and we'll see how this restart shakes out with all these cars that just came to pit road. The 16, who's been the fastest car, who was the fastest car in that last run, now mired out back. Green flag. And we take the green flag right at halfway. 113 laps complete. Big move by Davenport on Isabella Smith. That's for 7th.
Holding the torch for North Star Motorsports after Rachel Ramos had a pretty tragic engine failure from the lead.
Caution is
Sundale.
out again. Oh,
my
Summers!
goodness.
Wow, okay.
That is a gnarly accident. The 96
Huge
might have been
crash.
involved. Does Ashley Johnson have damage?
I believe so, yes. I believe the 62 was involved.
What a catastrophic day for Uberman.
Lockport and
Sundale gonna
Edelstein
inherit
coming
the
to
lead.
pit road.
And that means Freya von Lundquist is going to get her lap back.
Yes, it does. Freya von Lundquist, free pass car here. And she'll get back on the lead lap. Well, we'll have to go back and see what happened there because that was a nasty-looking impact for Kate Summers.
Especially on a track this small. That's our second flip of the day.
Yeah, that one was a lot more violent than our last one was, though. Deborah Williams was the other car involved in that, out of the race now.
So quick string of cautions here at the midway point. They're racing out here.
Oh, Summers
herself
off of
front
Karina.
Callaway. There might have been a
Stopped in
second
the middle of the
accident up
track.
front.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Hard
goodness.
hit. Driver's side.
I'd say we want to take also after this get a replay of Ashley Johnson.
Oh, yeah, Johnson got hooked into the wall by Oswell.
So
Hard impact for Summers.
yeah, I imagine that Dark Horse Racing and Uberman Enterprise those two teams are going to be at each other's throats after this race. Very scary impact. Well, team the 40 is leading in the 04 at the very end of the scoreboard, so a bit of a sandwich made with this Mercedes team. Look, ending the field, Laura Sundale leading behind Isabella Fitzmaurice, and then Cassidy Jones remains in fourth. And
the 88 is scored last, so.
You sure?
Yeah. Because the 88, because remember it's 38 cars.
Oh.
And the 88 and 65 retired before I had to reset it.
Mayumi Moriyama in fourth, and Naomi Davenport has found her way into the top 5.
All right. Lights are out. Restart. Sundale, Fitzmaurice, Jones, Moriyama, Davenport, Ramirez, Smith, Davis, Reynolds bracket. Nobody gets away from
come back in this race.
How about all these guys, all these girls that were that were a lap down in that long run, getting their laps back here? So Sundale is going to be the leader as we get to the green flag here. Green flag, back out. We're back to racing in Nazareth.
Sundale gets a good jump on the start.
Yeah, very good jump on that start.
See if they can keep it green this time.
I'd like to point out Rachel Ramos, despite being down a cylinder, on the lead lap still.
Oh, yeah, showing that resilience. Ooh, a couple Toyota teammates. Not sure what Mena Munoz was doing there.
Trying to pit, I think. Here comes Jones looking for second on Fitzmaurice. 38 just smacks the wall just a bit.
The aggression is really turned up, despite the incidents in Cara Reynolds. Back up into 9th place, now passing for 8th.
Now looking for 7th. Going for two for 1 here. What a move by Reynolds. Gonna make it stick too.
We talked about Cara Reynolds' top 10 streak. It looks like she might be able to keep it going.
Munoz in the pit road. Looks like she had some damage. Or no, she had a penalty. She got a penalty there.
Oh, right, from the restart violation we saw.
Restart violation on the 7.
Munoz going to serve her penalty. Going to set her back a lap.
22 and 38 battling here. Davenport and Fitzmaurice. And Cara Reynolds sitting right behind these two. Here's Leah Azelhart already making her way into the top 10. Just about to complete lap 122. And it is Laura Sundale out front, and Fitzmaurice got the wall again. That time a lot harder.
We're gonna be 3 wide here.
3 wide into through turn number 2.
Cara Reynolds looking for a top 5 position now. Where did she come from? Well, it looks like the 54 hit the wall pretty hard. Car is bleeding positions now, and that is going to allow Leah Azelhart to potentially find herself back in the top 10. Look at this scrum in the back here.
A lot of action action back here. That's a fire lap time, William. Ooh, 35, Anderson in the wall.
Yeah, McMillan's been struggling today after the beginning of that race. Jackie Kennedy on the bumper of Lulu Connie.
12 was giving the 44 a bit of a push it through turn 2 there.
I don't think
14,
you can do that.
Edelstein is coming to pit road.
The Heath Clarkson car running top 5 the cycle before this.
Got 3 wide back here. Look at Abby Buchanan move her way through.
Yeah, that's 4th position, the 59, trying to come back after some misfortune on pit road involving Izzy Min, who's running the 8th right now. Looks like a fuel leak on the 14. Liam, you got anything for that Heath Clarkson car?
Yep, 14 car team reported a fuel leak, bringing the car down. They're going to try and plug whatever issue they got going on there. Not sure if it's something in the fuel tank itself or if it's in the line heading towards the engine. But team's taking a look at it. They're working on it. They're going to try and get the car fixed and back out on the racetrack. The fuel leaks in these race cars, definitely one of the bigger setbacks that'll keep you out of the race for a few laps. So we'll see if that 14 can make it back out on the speedway.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Katrin Edelstein. Her teammate, by the way, Cassidy Jones, running in second, just 0.6 behind the leader 40 car of Lars Sundell.
Hey, there's Leah Azelhart, who leader before this whole cycle. Up into 10th, looking to take 9th.
S16 doing well. Davis, though.
Brenda Davis, yeah, pretty solid performance. There's Lori Ramirez fighting. She's got onto the inside with Lux Akuma. Looks like Akuma's kind of set back from a penalty as well. So the 6 is the first car lap down at the moment.
Davis trying to get underneath Fitzmaurice. Looks like she's going to do it. And look where Abby Buchanan is. Right there behind Lulu Connie.
Yeah. Very impressive that Abby Buchanan, remember, she fell a lap down. I think she fell 2 laps down. Or no, she only fell 1 lap down from that issue on pit road, but she's back up here, back on the lead lap, and might get back into the top 10 soon if she keeps her speed up here.
Yeah, that would put both Appalachia cars into the top 10. Cara Reynolds right now sitting pretty nice in 6th place behind Naomi Davenport. So Sundale has led comfortably since the start. Mercedes 1-2 at the moment. Cassidy Jones running in second.
Ooh, Akuma got the wall. Here comes Davenport. Again, not for position. Hey, another thing to point out, that both of our drivers that have those top 10 streaks are in the top 10 right now, so...
Yeah, Moriyama, who had like a really, really bad pit stop at the beginning of this whole cycle, manages to navigate through the cautions and find herself back into the top 3. Mayumi Moriyama showing some resilience here, and Cara Reynolds, of course, ran in the 20s all day, low teens, now up into 6th.
Liam, what you got? You got an update on the 14?
Yeah, I got an update on the 14. That fuel leak is going to be fatal for their race. Car is staying on the pit lane. Driver's got the window net down. She is out of the vehicle. That 14 is done for the day.
Well, a tough break for Katrin Edelstein. 2nd place finisher at Daytona. and had a good run going last week at Nashville before she was in an accident and that ended her race. And now her race is going to end early yet again here in Nazareth with a mechanical issue on that car. So
Cassidy Jones made up 3/10 on the 40 that lap. I'm not sure if that continues. It looked like she ran wide through turn 1 there, but keep an eye on that 4 car. It looks like she might have something for the 40 coming in the long run here.
Jones looking pretty strong, but we'll see how much this continues. The 40 got a lap car to negotiate. That's the 96 of Lynn Oswell. Oswell pretty far off the pace, but just trying to finish this one out. She's gonna fall to 5 laps down now. All right, so I think it's about that time where we're at the midway point. We're 137 laps complete. Why don't we throw it to our FanDuel fan studio for the FanDuel favorites for this one? Russia, Liam, do you guys have any picks?
Well, we've been observing the race closely here from the studio, and it's definitely been a tale of resilience for every one of these teams involved, I think. A lot of teams been going up and down the laps, and I don't think you can really truly count out anyone that's running on the lead lap right now, but the car that I'm personally looking at right now is number 22 of Naomi Davenport. That car has been kind of just been there and thereabouts. Hasn't really been a true contender at the start of the race, but I think that car started to show some good pace, and we'll see where that 22 car goes. But I'm pretty confident in their ability to wrangle the car up here, and let's see if they can get the best result they can possibly get out of today. Liam, are you there?
I am just making my way back from the pit lane here. A lot smaller track, so it's not as much of a struggle to get to the FanDuel fan studio this time. It's been an up and down race for everybody. I mean, one of the favorites I was looking at originally was Isabella Fitzmaurice in that 38. She was up in second. She was on her own pit cycle, but obviously a couple laps in a row making contact with that wall slowed her down. She's outside of the top 10 now. And that's completely flipped my perspective of this. Looking at the field right now, I really like that 15 car. That's 15 Isabella Smith for Dark Horse Racing. That car's been sort of like everybody else throughout the field. I've seen her making passes though, and I'd say keep an eye on Isabella Smith in that 15 today.
All right, thank you, Liam, for the input there. I think we'll take you back to the booth. I think they'll have their own picks as well alongside ours. Echo, are you there?
Yeah, Renee, you got a pick up there in the booth?
Yeah, I think you might be a little surprised by mine. I'm definitely looking closer at that 59, who's running just outside the top 10. We've seen a lot of spirit from that team today. I'm looking at her to come through towards the end as she slowly climbs her way through the field here, especially as we get through another pit cycle.
Well, I'm going to go with the 4 of Cassidy Jones here. Up at the front, and I think that with that track position that she has, that's going to be the most important thing. If we go green the rest of the way, I think I'm looking at that 4 of Cassidy Jones. She's been faster than the 40 she's been consistently faster than the 40, just kind of biding her time, but I think you're going to see Cassidy Jones in the 4 car make that difference and get into victory lane here from that different strategy, but I think she's got this.
Yeah, the 4 definitely looking pretty sporty. I think everybody's counting out the 64, Mayumi Moriyama, who's up to 3rd now, points leader, trying to extend a top 10 streak and expand her points lead. Obviously, she hasn't led any laps today, which is different from Daytona, but, I mean, that car has been up there, and she has been pulling away from the 31 with these top 3, so I really think you gotta keep an eye on these 3, although we'll see how pit cycles do. We should have at least one more stop, save for another caution.
Yep, this is going to be a one-stopper to the end. It's just, I'm very curious as to when we will see that pit stop, that last stop come. Rachel Ramos, again, still on the lead lap right now, down a cylinder, but she is actually still running okay in terms of pace. This track is actually not the worst place to lose an engine because most of this is cornering. Like, most of the lap here is cornering. Like, there's not really a lot of straightaway here to go at this place, so...
Yeah, very much a driver's track, very much a handling track. I think that's why we've seen so many mistakes from a lot of these drivers who are relatively inexperienced in stock car racing. Obviously, this is one of the highest levels of stock car racing in the world, but I mean, these aren't your top step drivers. You expect them to make these kind of mistakes, especially on a track as interesting as Nazareth, obviously recently refurbished. But you know, this is definitely like a testing ground for these drivers and teams who don't have a lot of data on this track.
Yeah, and considering that this is a standalone event, there's no Cup Series race to watch here to get acclimated to the track either. This is definitely one that these drivers are still kind of getting used to a little bit. Speaking of the Cup Series, though, next week we'll be back with the Cup Series at the same track. We're going to Las Vegas, the 1.5 mile track in the desert of Nevada, and hopefully we'll get away from all this cold weather. Continental race at Vegas, and then the Cup Series is there too. That will be sometime this weekend. I haven't actually set up a date for that, but yeah.
Oh, look at the 64s, made up a couple tenths on the 4-car the last couple laps, starting to see potentially a battle. Those three, though, have continued to pull away from 4th place. 31 of Ramirez now down 2.5 seconds, losing about half a tenth a lap.
Yeah, the top 3, I think, are just that much faster right now. The 16 of Azelhart got by Isabella Smith. If we look at the lap times, Azelhart ran a 27.6 that last lap. The 40 ran a 27.7. Nobody's really running on the pace with the 16 except for the 22 of Naomi Davenport. Everyone else is in the 27.7s or 27.8s. Azelhart still holds the NordVPN fastest lap at the moment with a 27.214. That worth 1 bonus point to the championship. Whoever has the fastest lap at the end of the race.
Davenport hit the wall. Not sure if Reynolds is going to be able to take advantage. Our Reynolds looking for a top 5 spot. Lucani, by the way, raced her way back into the top 10.
Yeah, got by Davis. Oh, I'd also like to point out Karina Willis-Callaway having a nice run, 14th.
And that 42, Freya von Lundqvist behind Ebby Buchanan there, she's on the lead lap.
Yep, von Lundqvist back on the lead lap. Had those handling issues earlier, but she's made her way back up here.
Yeah, in fact, Liam, do you have anything on the 42 for us? I know you got back down to pit road since we last talked.
I have not had a chance to speak to the 42 team yet. I know they have been working on that car, getting the handling fixed up since those issues I had reported earlier in the race. You can see the car still running to the outside, almost gets the wall again, so definitely potentially just some steering struggles from that team. I'll have more on that in a bit. Yeah, so definitely something to keep an eye on.
All right, well, at the front, they continue to pull away. 4th place now, nearly 3 seconds back. And Quinton staying a pretty steady half-second down from the leader. Oh, somebody hit the wall pretty hard back there.
Yeah, we've kind of hit that point of the race where it's just very kind of nobody's really making a move right now. You just don't want to push it at this point. I mean, the one thing I can absolutely say about the end of this race is that if the caution comes out, we'll be good on fuel. We're not going to be worried about fuel mileage. We are going to see this move by Min on Reynolds, though. Big move by the 46.
Up to 6. I mean, we know the 46 is fast, led a lot of laps early in this race. I'm not sure if Reynolds hit the wall or what, but she's now caught on the outside.
No, that was just Min being aggressive, trying to make that move, and I think that might.
Reynolds doing a good job holding her own on Akuma, though. Akuma obviously not for position, but
Kuma's not for position, but I think
he did the outside work in turn 3. That's the first time we've seen that done today.
Yeah, but I don't know how long that's gonna last because here comes the 16 of Hazelhart.
Gonna have to run. See how much Reynolds is able to defend. And how much the 16 gonna have the speed? No.
Hazelhart had to check up a little bit exiting turn 2.
Reynolds able to hold position in 7th now.
And they have caught the 2 of Ramos, putting her a lap down. Unfortunate for our pole sitter with her issues, but doing a pretty solid job just hanging on right now in the 2 car.
Yeah, 2 obviously wanting to stay ahead as the first car a lap down now. Try to get that free pass, maybe prepare whatever they can of that car in this next pit cycle.
I mean, the 2's still faster than the 96. Who's now going to be going 6 laps down here.
Yeah, what a week for Dark Horse Racing. Oh, midweek racing here at Nazareth.
Nope.
Seen a lot of comers and goers. Seen a lot of.
No, this is canonically during this last weekend.
Okay. Seen a lot of comers and goers. Seen a lot of mistakes, and a few pretty gnarly accidents here. In this one, the top 3 have really checked out. In fact, the distance from 1st to 10th is nearly 11 seconds now.
Here's Min battling with Davenport. Don't count out this 46. This car's been making moves.
Yeah, up into the top 5, she can get past the 22.
Yeah, she will get there. Yeah, the 2 actually passed the 96 on pace. So, I mean, not a great day if you're Lynn Oswell trying to look good and you get passed on pace by a car that's down a cylinder.
A lot of damage in that car for sure. Obviously, no minimum speed rule at the short tracks like this one. So the 96 is free to continue running laps.
There's only the only place the minimum speed rule is in effect are at the super speedways at Daytona, Pensacola, Atlanta, and Talladega. Everywhere else, as long as you're not pit looping, you can come in, you can race at whatever speed you want. Jones has been holding pace with the 40, but has not really been able to get close enough to make that move yet. Sundale has been running pretty consistent laps.
Yeah, doing a good job pacing the field here. That said, Jones looked like she had a pretty good lap that time.
Let me take a look further back at the field. It's really calmed down quite a bit back here.
Ronald's not really doing her teammate any favors here.
Not a lot of moves are being particularly made. Really anywhere. I think these drivers are just trying to get set up for that final pit stop.
This might be the battle for the free pass here.
6 car gets by the 2. Ooh, Hazelhart gets the wall.
Hard hit for the 16. That might allow Reynolds to take that position.
Yeah, Reynolds gets down underneath.
95 going to take 7th place from Leah Hazelhart.
Here comes Isabella Smith.
Lone Bright, or no, I shouldn't say that.
I thought Smith was going to get there, but Hazelhart was able to get down in front of her. Yeah, long green run here again, here from Nazareth. I mean, this track kind of lends itself to these long green runs, but we saw, especially last week at Nazareth, or at Nashville, that even if we get these long green runs, that does not stop us from getting another yellow. And these drivers are aggressive all the time, and it could always lead to another restart in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. As 40 crosses line, be 55 laps to go here. Starting to wonder when these teams will think pitting is the best option at the end of their race.
We've completed 170 laps. And Jones is really closed up on Sundale.
Might have a battle here.
I think what we might see here in this last little bit, I think what we're going to see, that final pit stop is going to be determined by who comes to pit road first. I think it's going to be that undercut. The undercut's going to, whoever undercuts is going to win, whoever undercuts is going to get out front, but I don't know if they're going to stay out front.
Yeah, that's the worry. You pit early, and then there's a chance if you pit this early that a lot of the competition just leaves you out to dry, and you put yourself at pretty big risk of getting caught a couple laps down by a caution. So it's just whoever feels brave enough to do so. We'll see which team thinks that's the best way to go about it.
Shizzy Min in 5th, closing in on Ramirez for 4th. I mean, this kind of track, it drives like a road course, so I think a lot of these international drivers will do particularly... I don't think it's that out of place to see these international drivers do too badly, to do well here. Very flat track, 3 pretty different corners. Getting around here is not easy.
No, not at all.
Ooh, well, Willis Calloway got the wall back there. It looks like Cara Reynolds has come to pit road. And so did the 99, actually. The 99 also came to pit road.
Old tires didn't make for enough grip. Willis Calloway seemed to have overdrove the car into the corner there.
Yeah,
so who will come next?
Yeah. These cars taken a little early. I think that's by design, though. What do you got down there, Liam?
Yeah, those pit stops you just saw, that was the early pit stop strategy, try and undercut the rest of the field. Saw one of these teams at least take it's all 4 tires and half a can of fuel. That's just enough to get them to the finish. So
that's 1.5 cans.
Definitely interesting to my bad. 1.5 cans of fuel. That should be enough to get them to the finish. We'll see if the undercut strategy pays off.
Ooh, Min goes wide, but I don't think she got the wall. Yeah, I'm still very curious to see how long these cars are going to try to go. Because again, I mean, we just saw the 95 and the 99 come in. There's the 99.
The difference on fresh tires there, but with Callaway getting around is about 10.
Yeah, we're seeing the difference right away. I mean, the 99 was able to blow by in just one corner there. Like, look at how much faster the 99 is, considering she's got about 60 lap fresher tires. I think these cars are going to try and go for all they can, but... We'll see how it works out strategy-wise. I believe the 95 is scored a little higher than the 95 has actually scored 23rd, and the 99 has scored 2 laps down, so. Hara Reynolds, the first car of those cars that have come in on this early strategy. While Willis Callaway is technically ahead on track, she's actually just like almost a lap behind. Pretty close up here. Jones is there on Sundale, just not able to make the move quite yet.
Yeah, Sundale starting to slow down a bit. Seeing both second and third position make up time on the 40. And I think 40 might be
40's in. 40's coming in, yep. Sundale's coming in. Ramirez, Davenport. That will put Cassidy Jones in the lead. Laura Sundale trying to get the jump on strategy here. Moriyama's in. Jones staying out again. Wonder if Jones is kind of trying a little bit of an overcut here. I think she knows she's faster on pace than the 40. Does she think she can make up that time? Now Jones comes in. '15, Isabella Smith comes to pit road. Is actually going to leave Shizzy Min in the 46 as the leader.
So Shizzy Min might be betting on a caution a little bit here with all the cars coming in and out of pit road.
40 car with a 15.06 on their stop. 64 had a 16.67. So, not a particularly fast stop for Moriyama. Min staying out again. Hazelhart is second now. I believe, I'm not sure who's scored in third. Oh, it's Lulu Connie. What do you got, Liam?
As this pit cycle continues, I'm seeing these teams, and it's a lot of similar stops. 1.5 cans of fuel and 4 tires. Obviously, with these short tracks, tires wear out a lot, and especially at these flat ones, it's going to be all across the board. So 4 tires for everybody, and enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Some cars repairing damage received from, slapping the wall. That's going to happen, but outside of that, a lot of similar pit stops. It's going to come down to how fast the pit crews can get it done to determine who can come out front here.
16 is in. That's Hazelhart. And thank you for that, Liam. Still a few cars that are out there that have not pitted yet. This 46. 46, I believe, is still on the track. Where is the 46? Yep. 46 is still out there trying to... I think she's trying to overcut this a little bit. But, hope for a caution and see how it plays out. But, right now it's not looking like it's going that way. Second now, it's the 77, Rose Lockport. Third is the 81.
The Meridian car is trying a bold strategy here, maybe trying to wait out for a caution or see if they can make up positions by staying out a little bit longer. See what happens.
7 and 62 still out on track. 81's coming in.
Sundale
Min
has
is also
unlapped
in.
herself. Min. Pit road.
There's the 40.
Laura Sundell in a very good position for this race.
And Cara Reynolds actually got a good
hit
jump.
very early.
Yeah, Cara Reynolds is up to, out of the cars in the cycle, I believe she's 4th.
Yep, originally 4th.
62, Vinny Schultz is in. 77 of Lockport, still the leader. She's still out there on track. I believe the 77 pitted on the most recent caution after everyone else, so she's trying to run this a little long and trying to run it as long as she can. But only 2 cars are left on the lead. Only 2 cars are left that haven't pitted yet. We'll see what Lockport is able to do. We'll see if she stays out another lap here, but yeah, looks like it.
So Rose Lockport on a very bold strategy.
Looks like the 7 of Munoz came in. Same for the 5 and the 42. Uh-oh. 38 car. Major engine troubles. But it looks like she'll be able to make it back to pit road.
No yellow, that would have been incredible
Lockport's
for
in.
Rose Lockport, who's going to come in right behind the 38.
Unfortunate for Isabella Fitzmaurice to have that issue. Now the lead will cycle back to Laura Sundale in the 40 car.
And she is quite a ways ahead of Cassidy Jones and Moriyama, who's in 3rd. Ooh, Ramirez hit the wall.
Liam, what do you got down there on pit road?
Yeah, update on the 38. That team is done for the day. It's another fatal engine problem for another participant in this race. No real specification on what exactly the issue with the engine was, but it was just an all-around problem with the engine. Smoke billowing out of that hood, and yeah, that team's done for the night.
A break for Fitzmaurice, who was running top 5 earlier in this race, as high as 2nd even. But yet another engine failure. A lot of mechanical failures. This track seems to be really hard on these cars. Obviously, with some pretty big accidents. Some drivers getting damaged from the wall, some getting damaged from debris.
And it looks like this cycle's gonna go all the way through. Sundale, who looked like she didn't really have that. Sundale, who didn't look ultra fast before that pit cycle. Now she's out front by 3 seconds on Cassidy Jones, who there's a lot of lap traffic in between Sundale and Jones, and I think that the only way that Jones is going to be able to get there is if we have a caution here in the late stages of this race.
Yeah, you look at the battle for 3rd right now. It's between Mayumi Moriyama and Cara Reynolds, 2 drivers still trying to keep their top 10 streaks going, and it looks like they're going to. Running 3rd and 4th right now. Moriyama likely going to increase her points lead this race. Laura Sundale.
Yeah, Sundale got out front on that pit strategy and just has not looked back. I mean,
It's going to be a big morale boost for this team. The 40.
yeah,
Obviously,
they missed the race at Daytona. Just barely.
But-
And last week they had a pretty good run at Nashville, but just couldn't close it out. and ended up 28th in that one. Got taken out in an incident late in the race. Now, I mean, Sundale looks like the car to beat right now.
Yep, this is the 40 team's race to lose at this point.
I think unless there's a caution, then the 40 has this one in the bag.
Is not out of the
or
question.
unless she gets a catastrophic mechanical issue.
Which wouldn't be out of the question based on the prevalence of them in this race so far.
Yeah. So, Moriyama's put a lap car in between herself and Reynolds. So that keeps the 95 in 4th. Lori Ramirez is in 5th. Davenport is 6th. Shizzy Min all the way back in 7th. Running along just didn't pay off for her. Alice Hagman is off the lead lap. In fact, most of these cars that tried running that last cycle long are off the lead lap. We only have 13 cars remaining on the lead lap at the moment.
Bit of a interesting situation for Cassidy Jones as you look at the lap cars battling in front of her. That's going to slow her down, and we might have a battle for second if she keeps up.
A lot of these lappers have pace too. Like, the 2 is the only one that's really off the pace. Could become a 3 or 4 car battle for second because Reynolds is up here, but as well Ramirez and Davenport aren't too far back of this group.
35 hit the wall. That's going to allow Jones to get through, potentially 64 as well. Oh, 35 holding her own on the outside pretty well. And Anderson.
Yeah, Krista Andresen. Well, we're past lap 200 now. There are actually 205 laps complete, so 20 laps to go. Karina Willis-Callaway in the 99. Again, she's on the oldest tires of pretty much everyone, so... she's not in a particularly favorable position, and she's going to keep dropping back even further. Right now, it is all Laura Sundale. And we do have a new fastest. NordVPN fastest lap. Zoe Quinton has taken it away. 27.159 for the 5 car of Quinton.
Yeah, the 5 car came out with some clean air on some of the newest tires in the field. This race obviously hasn't gone the way that the 5 team would have wanted, but a little silver lining to this day.
Yeah, that car's still a lap down.
So you see, might have a battle here for third between Reynolds and Moriyama. They get around Karina Willis-Callaway, who's a little off the pace.
Yeah, Willis-Callaway clearly just does not have her stuff underneath her right now. Ramirez and Davenport 5th and 6th. I mean, again, another point of contention to talk about here. This is a good run for Naomi Davenport. That team got that penalty. She missed the race last week at Nashville. Came in with negative 11 points. A 6th place run is going to do wonders for this team. That's gonna push them up the point standings quite a bit. Gonna get them to at least about 25 points.
That's a tough situation for Cara Reynolds as Brenda Davis gets underneath the 95, kind of locks her behind the 96.
Oh, here comes
That's going to allow Lori
Ramirez.
Ramirez.
31 car, looks to the inside.
3 wide move. That's for third. Or fourth.
31 takes it. Oh, Davenport
And
really
Davenport
ran
slides
wide.
up to the wall.
I'd like to point out as well, Isabella Smith in the 15, again on pace for a top 10 here. Had a couple of bad luck, had some bad luck with the last couple of races, running in the top 10 at Daytona when she lost an engine, and she was running in the top 10 on the final lap at Nazareth last week before her incident with Zoe Quinton. Vinny Schultz is on pit road, 62 coming back down.
Nearly 5 seconds separate first and second right now. Laura Sundell trying to lock herself in the playoffs here. And it looks like she has a pretty good chance of doing so. Never say never for these kind of races, but...
Hey, Liam, do you have anything on the 62 down there?
Yeah, 62 hit the pit lane a little bit ago. They came in for a brake failure, got the pads changed out. They're back. I believe they're back out on the racetrack. And that was... Yes, they are back on the racetrack. Sorry, I think I just saw the 42 hit the wall again. Yeah, they got the brake pads changed out there. An issue there for the team. Obviously, not great to have a mechanical issue late in this race, but at least they are still on the racetrack competing for some points.
Well, a tough break for that team. This is a track where you really need brakes, so...
Yeah, speaking of mechanical issues, the 16.
Oh, 16.
Leah Azelhart.
Leah Azelhart's on pit road. Do you have anything
Back again,
on that?
guys, sorry. Leah Azelhart just hit the pit lane. Team is reporting over the radio. It is a tire down on that race car. They're getting it fixed up now. But, oh, never mind. They are done for the day.
Wow.
Yeah, they retired from the race. Azelhart had a pretty good day going. That's very unfortunate for that Gulf Racing number 16.
Well, we are at our Windows 11 to go. It's actually 10 to go, but a bunch of stuff happened there. So we had to cut that out, but we are at our Windows 11 to go. Laura Sundell out front by 5.7 seconds. What a run for this 40 car in this last run. She's looked absolutely untouchable.
You know, Freya von Lundqvist hitting the wall as much as she has, I wonder if that car has a power steering issue. I mean, we haven't been really seen her be able to line the corners as well as other drivers, and how much she's been hitting it, it wouldn't surprise me. Guess we'll find out after the race when the team diagnoses what happened. Isabella Smith in 8th, 4 seconds back of Naomi Davenport, pretty much locked into a top 10 finish barring catastrophe here. Shizzy Min trying to get around Cara Reynolds, that is for a top 5 position.
46, I believe, is going to take that. Yes, she is.
Shizzy Min coming back after staying out pretty long on fresher tires. Looking at a top 5 finish now, still 10 seconds back of the leader though.
I don't think she's not going to have enough for the win unless we got some sort of issue.
And there's no overtime, so they're running out of laps here. There's a possibility this race could end under caution if it doesn't happen soon. Our closest battle in the top 10 right now is between Naomi Davenport and Cara Reynolds.
Ooh.
3 wide, there's jet bracket, 96 and 81 out.
None of that is for position. I believe the 60 is on a little bit fresher tires than the 15 is. So she's giving her some trouble. 5 laps to go for Laura Sundell. I mean, she can just, I think she just wants to cruise home right now.
You don't need to push it too hard at this point. It'd be pretty hard to lose all of that time to Cassidy Jones. This much time left in the race. At a track as short as this, they'll cross the line 4 to go.
Min might have enough to get to Ramirez for 4th. I mean, for Cassidy Jones, again, this is a run that she's just got to be proud of. 2nd place at a track like this. Pretty solid drive for Jones. The 17-year-old who, youngest driver in the series, has performed pretty well in all of her runs so far. So, nothing to be ashamed about for Jones.
Yeah, if she keeps this pace up, I wouldn't be surprised to see that for the top step of the podium at least once for the rest of this year. Laura Sundale going to cross the line next time around. 2 to go.
40 car, just got to nurse it home at this point.
And look at Shizzy Min and that 31 of Lori Ramirez here coming down to the wire. Oh, it looks like Min might have hit the wall. That might kill chances in 4th place. I think that lap car is going to keep 31 from reaching Moriyama as they cross the white flag.
White flag. 1 lap to go for Sundale. For PHLM Racing, a team that was assembled pretty late in the going, they only got their cars assembled about a few weeks before Daytona. So this team kind of scrambled to put something together, but...
She doesn't even need the engine now. Laura Sundale.
Laura Sundale will win at Nazareth. And
Cassidy Jones going to come home a very strong 2nd. Our points leader, Mayumi Moriyama, going to come home 3rd. Going to expand that points lead. And Cara Reynolds coming home 6th, also going to expand her top 10 streak. And Jeff Brackett, we didn't really talk about the 66, who had a lot of issues during this race, comes home with a very strong 9th. Jackie Kennedy, we talked about her interesting strategy. Came home with the last car in the lead lap, 12th place finish for the 12th.
Yeah, very good run for a lot of these cars. Very good run, very solid run for, I mean, say Abby Buchanan did a great job recovering from her issue early in the race. Same with Jackie Kennedy. Those are a couple cars that got the free pass to get back in the lead lap. Same for Jet Brackett, actually. I mean...
Yeah, definitely a lot stories of resilience throughout the field, really. Yeah, tough break for Leah Azelhart. Blew a tire, ended her race late. She was on track for at least a lead lap finish.
Probably would have been top 10, but unfortunately that just wasn't to be. Well, we're going to send you to the studio for the post-race show. Rasha, Liam, do you two have any comments on about this one? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that race was definitely a nice strategy race at the end there. We saw a lot of green flag pit stops during that last cycle, and Laura Sundale was just able to kind of nail the strategy in the pit stop and just run away with it at the end there. Definitely wasn't as close as it was looking like it was gonna be, especially earlier on. I think the 40 was definitely the class of the field coming into the stops, but she just took it to another level, I think, afterwards. But yeah, plenty of good runs for a bunch of teams here. We mentioned the role that Resilience had in this race, of course. And yeah, I think that really showed with a lot of drivers. Jet Brackett, of course, had early problems, finished in the top 10. Abby Buchanan finished on the lead lap after that issue on pit lane that dropped her down a lap. And even Jackie Kennedy, who had a bunch of odd strategy calls, I think, made it work out in the end, I think, and still finished on the lead lap despite everything. And I'll hand it over to Liam for a little bit here. What did you think of the race?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on a lot of the points there. You guys all did with the resiliency that these drivers put in. These gals, we're dealing with a lot. I mean, we talked about potentially a power steering issue with the 42 team. Haven't gotten any confirmation on that, but I mean, Freya Von Lundquist was hitting the wall. We got a lot of drivers hitting the wall. just struggling with control, but managing to keep it in, managing to keep the car driving, which is the most important part. To play comparisons here, this race sort of played out similar to what we saw last week at Calder Park in the Cup race. We had a lot of cautions early, a lot of cars getting beat up, but once we had a long green flag run, the real class of the field showed out. This just happened to be Laura Sundale, played it perfectly on that pit cycle and pulled out to a multiple second lead. So that's a comparison I'd like to make there. Very different tracks, but very similar race in terms of how things turned out.
Yeah, and I think another performance that I think could speak of resilience, and that is that of the 22 of Naomi Davenport. Davenport, of course, came in last in the championship, minus 11 points, entering this race, qualified it on time, and managed to run a very, very good race, and ran mostly in the top 10 all day, I think, at least in the second half of the race, and finished it up in, I think, 7th place. So a very good run and a very good points haul that will be desperately needed for that 22 team. Now, hopefully, I think North will be wanting some of that for the other teams. I believe still one team. I think the 51 of Arcadia is still down there at minus 10. But yeah, otherwise, it'll be a positive signs at least for the North Star team.
I mean, when you get stuck in negative points, your main goal is to get out of that hole. And with a field as tight as this, qualifying for races, especially when you're low in points, is a tough task to ask. But I mean, they got it done today. They got those much needed points after being in that negative points hole, and hopefully for the rest of the team, they're able to dig themselves out as well and try and climb back up the rankings. I mean, it's still early in the season, so there's still plenty of time to get back into the game.
Yeah, definitely still early in the season. If you're, still plenty of time. There's a lot of teams that are still struggling down there. I mean, when I talk about teams that are struggling right now, Uberman Enterprises, I don't think anything is going right for that team right now.
No, not in the slightest.
They are making races, but everything else beyond that, I think it's a little bit less ideal. I think. I mean, we just saw one of their cars flip in this race, so.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes.
I mean, sometimes you look at it and you're like teams like Project Horizon Racing, both cars missing the last 2 races. At least they've still got their cars. Uberman Enterprises beat up a lot of cars today, and definitely going to be an expensive day at the shop. So sometimes it's more having the cars that you have and being able to carry them into another race to try and qualify instead of going in there, qualifying, and then not finishing well and tearing up a bunch of race cars while you're at it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of teams are going to be looking in and out throughout the organization, seeing what works and what doesn't work. I think another team that'll be looking at that is Gulf Racing. I think they have 3 teams. All 4 of their teams are in the playoffs right now still, I think, or at least if they're not, they're at the very cutoff line. Yeah. But yeah, I think Azelhart's the last car in right now, and I mean, bit of an up and down season so far for that team in general, but having 4 cars in the playoffs this early on, I think that's a pretty decent sign of things to come. Maybe a little bit of poor timing on the 16 team, but even then, despite that, they lasted long enough in the race to still get a decent finish out of that. And of course, Brackett and Kennedy got good results there from their respective races, and yeah, I think that team will be looking at things, just kind of making sure that everything's up to scratch over there.
Yeah, I mean, another unique racetrack. We've had a real array of different tracks. Nashville being short, but sort of rounded. This one being short, flat, with varied corner angles, and then the super speedway, obviously Daytona being its own kind of beast. And then the Cup Series, you got a road course. You've got the craziness that was Calder Park last week, and then also Daytona. These tracks, I mean, you're going to need a really wide skill set to succeed here in AWSCO, and I mean, these ladies are putting on a show, and these winners are really stepping up and showing what they've got. And with the Continental Series, it's not the top level, so being able to really prove yourself in this series is going to play important into future seasons in this series, I believe, as well.
Yeah, definitely so. And now that now that the what do you call it, Continental Series have finished their little their little run of doing their own races here after the Cup race at Bathurst tomorrow. Both series are going to come back and do races together again for a little bit. I think the next two races will be run at the same track. It'll be Las Vegas and California, two similar but not exactly the same tracks. One's 1.5 miles, one is 2 miles, but they're both very fast big ovals, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it'd be a return to normalcy, returning to very, very common, familiar-looking tracks, Las Vegas and Auto Club, but even those tracks run completely differently to each other, and it's a unique type of racing experience for all the drivers who haven't run tracks like Vegas and Fontana yet this season. So even the tracks that we as spectators would consider normal, gonna be a big learning experience and something really different for everybody in both fields as we come into next week's races.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be a different challenge for these teams, I think. Especially,
100%.
Yeah, especially with given that we haven't exactly run these kinds of tracks quite yet, so it'll be a pretty good first challenge for a lot of teams. Some drivers, of course, will have already run ovals like these in other series, but of course, this will probably be their first time doing so in these cars. So there's always going to be that element of learning basically to every race, really, for these drivers, I think.
Now, I do want to touch on some of the grip issues with the cars hitting the wall, as well as some of the engine issues. Do you think the very low temperatures at the racetrack played into that today?
Perhaps with the way the cars were set up, potentially. I'm not entirely sure if that played too much into engine problems, but it might also have been a consequence of teams essentially pushing their engines a little bit too hard, expecting low temperatures. Maybe some of those engines ran a little bit too hot, and maybe some of those engines experienced issues because of that. As for handling, I think it might have just been a setup issue. It could also have been a tire heat issue. We'll just have to see later on, and see just kind of
how these cars handle.
How these cars perform. I think it is still very early runnings in the series, so some teething issues I think are going to be a little bit more expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say I'm chiming in up here from the booth, but I want to see if we can get a medical update on Kate Summers at some point, considering she had that nasty hit. And I didn't really hear very much about her afterwards, so I wonder if she's okay. Hopefully she's okay, but I think me with a lot of other fans would be very curious to hear a medical update on her after her accident.
Yeah, I mean, from pit lane, I heard she was being evaluated at the infield care center, where she was communicating with everybody in there. So, hoping for a positive update coming out of that accident. It was a scary sight to see for sure.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for the best for Kate, of course. As we start to wrap up this broadcast, I think if there's anything else, Echo, since you're here with us from the booth right now, is there anything else you want to say about this race?
I mean, just a fun race in general. I mean, it was very patient at the end. I think a lot of people, when you expect short track racing, you expect a lot of bumping, a lot of banging, but this was genuinely quite fun to watch from up in the booth. Just for general, I don't know. I just quite enjoyed that. It wasn't like super over the top, like say Nashville was, but this race was very good for what it was, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It was a very very good short track race, very unique experience watching these cars go around this track, And I mean, there's nothing really like Nazareth. People compare it to Pocono a lot, but Pocono is so much bigger. It's an entirely different animal. Nazareth is
Yeah, it's its
they
own
have
thing.
sort of, yeah.
All right, well, I hope everyone enjoyed this race, the PPL 225 from Nazareth Speedway. On behalf of Renee, Russia, Liam, and Eddie, I'm Echo. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Here from